Hi guys, and welcome back. And yes, you were probably expecting a reaction video. You know, the usual sit down, look at the music video, listen to the music, and give that surface level review about it.
What the hell?
But then I decided, you know what? I've reacted to this band so many times at this point that any reaction I was going to do, or what I will do in the future, would have been kind of like a, sort of a copy and paste job. And I didn't want to do that. I would think that's kind of boring, and I think you guys deserve a bit better. So with that in mind, I'm switching things up with a full-blown track breakdown. And I think this is a bit more funner to do it this way. And in this way, you get something a bit more out of the video than just, the superficial, surface level commentary about this track. And I couldn't think of a better band to do it with than Distant, who I've looked at for over a year now and actually got to meet the guys. So that being said, give this video a like if you enjoyed, and write down below if you did like this concept and if you have any other bands you want me to talk about. And without wasting any more time, let's jump into the video. This is track breakdown.
I'd like to purchase some of your finest chugs, please.
So the whole point about this is literally I'm going to tell you what's new, I'm going to tell you stuff I liked, the stuff I didn't like, and overall just give a verdict at the end. And with this band, Distant, this is their new single, Cursed. I was kind of shocked to see that they had music out so soon from their previous album, considering it's only been, what, a year now? And they've got new music. We're spoiled as people. And to go into what's actually new about this track, definitely got more of a hardcore tone to it. It seems the band have evolved a little bit, which I think is really great. I think bands should evolve and show progression in their discography. They've done this with their guitar tones. They've been changed up a bit. They're a lot warmer now, a bit more saturated. You can definitely feel like it's more coming through a guitar amp instead of like, I don't know, a Kemper profiler or using amp sims on your, DAW of choice, which I thought was really cool. It sounds a lot more natural overall. The other thing is that the vocals have incorporated a lot more of those iconic tropes you would get from a hardcore band. The sort of whispery, clean vocals gradually going into the more distorted style of vocals as well, which I thought was really cool. The drums have toned it down a little bit. They're less speedy. They're being a lot more groovier than usual, which is great because when you slow down your drums,
just slow down any instrumentation,
you can get a lot more low end out of that instrument, and a lot more low end frequencies can get pushed across and into your eardrums. So those are like the main small things that I noticed that were brand new about this. And on my initial listen, I was blown away because I wasn't expecting it, and overall really enjoyed that initial listen. Next, I'm gonna go talk about my likes and dislikes of the track. So one of the things, of course, I liked was the fact that the band has evolved their sound a little bit. I hate it when bands stick to one tone for album after album. And if Distant on this new single sounded identical to what they did on Aeons of Oblivion, I would have been a little bit disappointed to see that they didn't do that they actually tried to change it up and develop as a band. I am all for it. I'm really happy about it. I'm happy they did that, and it's quite the positive outcome. One of the other things I really liked about this is that there's been a consistent thing with the band about starting off the song with a certain phrase. One of the songs would start off with I am end. And, so on and so forth. This one, they started the track by saying the phrase, "What defines death?" which I thought was really cool because I haven't actually heard that phrase, me especially, have heard that phrase in a metal band being ushered. It's cool to start off your song with a question because then it means that for the rest of the song, you're actually trying to answer that question. And they bring it back, of course, in the chorus sections where we have what defines death and then the chorus, them explaining it. Might just be me, but lyricism wise, I think that was a really cool thing to do. The audience, when they're listening to it, can, enjoy that and get involved with that as well. When it comes to instrumentations, I thought the bass guitar was sounding absolutely fat and disgusting in every way possible.
Is this how you get your sick
bass tones?
What? It's just an ordinary
Bass.
Oh my goodness!
There's this small section at the start, just after the intro sequence, where it's a small break, where the bass is just on its own. And my God, I've never heard a bass sound so gnarly in my life. It's like they took the Neural DSP Parallax and the Dark Glass emulation and just mushed it together to create this abomination of a tone. I can imagine there was probably a Soothe 2 plugin in there trying to hold this all together. And as a result, it created this can you still call it a tractor at this point? A tractor has a tone to it because we always aim for that tractor bass. But this time it just sounds like it's a tractor put through an amp, going through like a tube screamer. It sounds absolutely disgusting and I love it. It suits the music really well and it just layers really nicely with the guitars. Because of how distorted the bass is, it subsequently makes the guitars even more distorted and heavier sounding. With that segue, it actually goes perfectly into the guitar section. The guitars, as I said, I really like them. They're a lot warmer. They sound less clinical than they did on their previous album, which is a plus. It means that overall, the mid-range instrumentations sound a little bit more organic than usual, which helps when it comes to having a longer shelf life. As I said before, I like the fact the drums were laid back a little bit from previous albums, a lot more focusing on the groove aspect of it, because if you're gonna go a bit more into the hardcore side of metal, you gotta have that groove and you gotta know when not to play the kick as much as you should, which I really appreciated here. And it really gave the low end some time to breathe, really open up, and you really feel it in here, that low end, like right here. But again, I'm talking about things I like. This is definitely one of the stuff I like. The aesthetic is also been switched up a little bit, going from that very ritualistic side that we saw on Aeons of Oblivion and that whole series, now very much more of this culty kind of gangster, what is it, like that group Anonymous sort of a feel to it. They changed the aesthetic. We're going into a new era. Colors themselves are a lot more bluer, darker, and in a way it reminded me a little bit of Within Destruction. And with the subsequent music coming after this, and potentially the album, I wonder if they'll go more into this sort of, you know, Tokyo neon style, because we did see a bit of that with their merch in the previous run. And finally, Alan himself kills it as always. I still think he's one of the best vocalists in the deathcore scene at the moment. And here, he incorporated some hardcore moments, which, you know, those cleaner going to more distorted, just overall this more of a raspier style. Because in deathcore, vocal wise, it's very controlled chaos. It's the best way I can describe it. While in hardcore, there's more moments where you feel that the frontman is actually angry and screaming, like it sounds painful. A perfect example is the frontman of Knock Loose. When he is singing, even though he sounds like a Mickey Mouse sort of guy, he still sounds like he's genuinely in pain when he screams, and it brings a lot more emotion to the table. Similarly here, I could sense that with Alan, with some of the screams, he definitely shows a lot more personality and emotion to them when it comes to those more hardcore style. He still does his iconic deathcore growls and screams, but you can definitely tell with the hardcore stuff, there's a lot more personality and emotion coming through there. Now, unfortunately, with every yin, there's a yang, and we have to talk about the not so great stuff I found about this. Again, this is all opinionated, so if you don't like it, what are you gonna do? So for starters, I found the mix to be really bright and very piercing. This could be due to the, you know, mastering stage, but I found it very loud, very intense on the eardrums. And if we're gonna get an album that's definitely on the longer side, let's say 40 minutes plus, it's gonna be difficult for me to want to listen to the whole thing front to back in one sitting. Because, of course, you're gonna get ear fatigue, which I've mentioned numerous times on this channel before. It's gonna result in everything just sounding like one big mess. Which, if you want replayability, you don't want that. The other feedback I have as well is that I love the new guitar tone, but I wish there was a way to just have a bit more clarity and note definition. A lot of the times, the definition, the guitar notes, they weren't translating. Like, I couldn't define one note from the other. I'm fully aware they were more towards the whole chords, the hardcore chords, but there was definitely moments where I couldn't really tell what was being played on the guitars at all. Also, with the bass being uber distorted and uber gnarly, it might not have helped either. But that's just a small bit of feedback. When it comes to the writing, I did find it a little bit lackluster. There were some good moments on it, but overall I felt after about the second chorus, I'd heard about everything that this track had to offer me. And even when it came to the final breakdown where he screams bleed, it didn't really hit me as much as I was expecting. I found that the breakdowns and a lot more of the writing on Aeons of Oblivion was just way more interesting to listen to overall and made me want to go back to it as much more. Well, this wasn't as much. I'm sorry, but it's just how I felt about it. And my hope is that when it comes to the full album or full EP, that we'll come to know that this was one of the lesser tracks and that they're still holding out with the best stuff that's yet to come. But overall, I really like the track. I like the new direction they're going in. It's a banger. It's always going to be a banger. This band knows how to make bangers, and they always will achieve that. And all I can say is I can't wait for the newer stuff to come out. I'm still jamming the older stuff because how can you not? It's so good. But besides that, yeah, I'm looking forward to the new stuff. So anyway, write down below what did you think about the track, and I'll also have the track linked down below so you can go listen to it for yourself and come up with your own opinion as well. But besides that, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next track breakdown. Bye.